Hi everybody, and welcome to the final video in my 1980s metal collection flick through series, where we're going to cover 1983. If you've not been watching this series, I've been doing the 80s in a slightly random order. I couldn't be bothered doing 83 to 89 year on year. It's a little bit too predictable, and I like to mix things up a little bit and keep it more interesting for myself and hopefully for you as well. What you're going to see is my the 80s metal vinyl that I have in my collection as of now. It will probably change in future. There are 40 to 50 albums in here. I'll do the usual format where I'll switch the camera around and we'll just flick through a few comments on some of them and maybe less on some of the maybe more well-known ones. You should know the format by now if you've been watching along. If you haven't, check out the playlist. All the videos are on there. Again, this is 1983. It's new wave of British heavy metal is starting to go downhill a little, but still strong. You'll see quite a few good albums from that period in here, but we're also starting to see the likes of thrash creep in, maybe a little bit of the glam hair metal, whatever you want to call it, is starting to come in as well, and it's a year that kind of really ignites all those styles and explodes, and the 80s from 83 onwards got really interesting after that. At the end of the video, let me know what your favourites are from 83. Let me know any that you feel I am missing and I should check out. Also, let me know if I've made any mistakes along the way. I pull these out based on my catalogue system, and there's the other videos have shown that it's not necessarily as accurate as I'd like to think it is, but it gives me a good opportunity to update it if not. So I hope you've enjoyed this series. I've certainly enjoyed pulling everything out and reequating with some albums. There are some that I pull out that I think I honestly cannot remember what they sound like, so it gives me an opportunity to spin them again and get to know them all over again. Hope you've enjoyed this series. I've certainly enjoyed doing it. Let's get on with it. Alcatraz, No Parole from Rockin' Roll. Graham Bonnet's band with Yngwie Malmsteen on guitar. Good album. Canadian metalheads, Anvil, Forged in Fire. New wave of British heavy metal, Battle Axe and Burn This Town, with one of those so bad it's good covers. Good album, this. Worth checking out. Black Sabbath, Born Again. Of course, this is with Ian Gillan on vocals. A couple from Bow Wow, a Japanese metal band that did a pretty good success over here as Bow Wow in later years. This is Warning from Stardust, a studio album with a live shot at the back, and then a live album, Holy Expedition, with a studio shot on the back. Good band, I like Bow Wow. More new wave of British heavy metal, second tier, I think, in this case, or maybe even third. This is Bronze and Taken by Storm. Demon. Now, these were a good new wave of British heavy metal band. For the first couple of albums are very traditional metal, but then they kind of went a little more down the sort of melodic prog route, and this one is very strange, very different from the first two albums. But the song The Plague, title track, is fantastic. I love that one. Diamond Head and Canterbury, again quite a melodic sounding album, but fantastic nonetheless. Dio, Holy Diver, an absolute masterpiece of an album. I've got an OG there, and also the I couldn't resist getting the recent repress as well, Vertigo. Very well done, that one too. Girls School, Play Dirty. This is Girls School in their more commercial phase, I guess. They glam them up a little. The song's a lot more commercial. It's produced by Noddy Holder, and you can definitely hear his influence on their sound. Grand Prix and Samurai. This is a very sort of Tokyo Blade feel to the look of the album, but is nothing like that at all. It's Robin McCauley band, or he was in the band at the time. Anyway, very, very melodic, very keyboardy, not fantastic, but not bad either. Heavy Petting, a Scottish metal. Now this is a Canadian pressing. The UK press has a different cover, and the original release was called Letting Loose, but this is a Canadian pressing I got as VCLT from Blackmore Rules. Hallenbach, now hear this, another scissors on the neat labels. I think this is another band from Newcastle, hotbed of metal in the early 80s. These guys were tagged as the UK's answer to Van Halen, which is really unfair because they're not really like that, and I don't think it did them any favours at all. We have some Hellion. This is an EP. The cover is just a little bit fragile. Anne Boleyn on vocals, so I'll keep the records separately. Exception rather than rule in my collection. Iron Maiden, Peace of Mind. This is my OG that I've had since I was a teenager, from when it came out, and the 20... I've done so many of these videos now, and I can't remember when the repress was made. 2014 remaster, reissue, what have you. Slightly different, I noticed, on the colour schemes here. I do prefer the one on the left. The lighter artwork, it's a lot sharper. This one's just kind of seems like they turned the light on, and it's just a little bit flooded with colour. Killer Dwarves, Canadian hard rock metal. I think this was a VCLT from Greg the Egg, I think. Oh, this definitely was. Now this is Kix's album Cool Kids, but it's the Canadian press, so they were rebadged as US Kicks, so kind of nice to have just a slightly different version of the album. I think the track listing is all the same. As you can see up here, the Maple Leaf Canadian press. Crocus, Headhunter, One Vice at a Time and Headhunter, they flip-flop between my favourite Crocus albums, I guess really depending on which one I've played last, but great album. Magnum, The 11th Hour. You can't go wrong with Magnum. Rodney Matthews artwork, as always. Good, solid Magnum album. Probably one of the more underrated ones, though. Manowar, Into Glory Ride. This is the most expensive second-hand record I have ever bought, and at £25 it hardly seems anything at all, but just goes to show that I'm always looking out for a bargain, and I was delighted when I finally picked this one up because it's on the Music Relations label, and that's when I was collecting MFN6. I was collecting heavily at this time, and I really do like this album. Wasn't into Manowar back in the day, but I do like their earlier stuff now. And the last from this box is a reissue. This is Merciful Fate and Melissa. I'm not a big fan of King Diamond's vocals at all. There's only 3 or 4 tracks that I actually like off this album, but it's enough to keep me interested and keep it a Metal Blade reissue. Metallica, Kill 'Em All, an MFN original in absolutely superb condition. This was a VCLT I actually got from Jim Davis. Absolutely superb. This was the original copy that I had. This is a Russian bootleg, and it really doesn't sound very good at all. As you can see, the images aren't nearly as sharp as the original. And for such a long time, I didn't really appreciate this album because the quality of that bootleg. One of my favourite albums of all time. Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. I really hope this one gets a good reissue now that the crew have sold all the rights to the record company, so I expect a big cash in from that coming very soon, and I'll be first in line to get a nice minty refresh of Shout at the Devil. Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon. God, I'm going to have to try and pronounce this one, right? Panzer Salvesi Quien Pueda. That's all you're going to get from me. Good traditional heavy metal, but Spanish, I think. It's on Mausoleum. Buy anything that I see on Mausoleum, because it's usually some good second tier metal from back in the day that is quite refreshing to listen to these days. Picture from Holland. This is Eternal Dark. This is the best Picture album that I have heard. I haven't heard them all. I have at least a couple in my collection, and definitely on the lookout for more. Always on the lookout for more Picture. Very good traditional heavy metal. Queensryche, their debut 4-track EP. Rat, probably my favourite thing that Rat have put out is this. It's more of an EP as well, I guess. 6 tracks on it. Music for Nations as well. This is an early Music for Nations. Music for Nations #2, one of the first albums that they put out. Raven, All for One. This was VCLT, or a trade I think I did with Bev. She'd got it from Jim Davis. It wasn't to her taste, and I think I traded her an Anvil album of all things. So just show what a good network the VC is. Rock Goddess, Hell Hath No Fury. Everybody knows Girl School as an all-female new wave of British heavy metal act, but Rock Goddess were just as good. And who do we have on here? We have one of these. I thought one of these ended up in Girls' School, but I think that was Tracy Lamb, and she wasn't in either band at this time now, so I'll shut up and move on. The Rods live. Great rocking band. So what's his name? Never remember his name. The singer, the guy in the middle, Ronnie James Dio's cousin. Mind goes blank when I put the camera on. This is Violent Breed Rocks. They're a very American looking band, but I think these guys are from Manchester. They're pretty much one and done. I'm struggling to remember what they sound like. I know I like this album, but I can't remember what they sound like. So this is what I'm going to keep out and give a spin after I finish the video. Savatage, Sirens, absolutely phenomenal album. Everyone raves about the new reissues and the fact that this wasn't the original cover, but I prefer this cover to the blue ship. I think it's a lot more interesting. There's a lot more going on, and I think it's actually originally from a children's book. You can search for that online and get it. But fantastic album, Music for Nations again. Saxon, Power and the Glory, a little bit more kind of power metal influenced sound to this one, but good Saxon album while they were still in their heyday in the 80s. Suicidal Tendencies debut album. This, I mentioned this a few times, is this was the first Blind to Buy album I ever bought. Going to visit my sister when she was away in college, going to a record store, seeing this and just getting completely captivated by the cover, all these shirts and everything going on. It's got the poster in it still, and it's an angry album, and it's a real stress relief. It's that when if I have a bad day, I'll stick that on and I feel so much better after. Tank, This Means War. Tank's third studio album, again on Music for Nations. This is when it became a 4-piece. Really good album. Mentioned Tokyo Blade earlier in reference to Grand Prix, but this is the Tokyo Blade release from 1983. Obviously, again, really cool new wave of British heavy metal. Now this is a band I I know I like this album, but again, it's one that I've bought and I haven't played for quite some time, so it's definitely going to get another spin in the next couple of days. Another Music for Nations. This is Tsunami self-titled. I think they're an American Japanese mix of band members. But I remember it being an excellent album. I just don't remember it enough to recommend songs, so I'm going to give that one another spin. That's what's good about this series, is it's reconnecting with a lot of albums. Twisted Sister, You Can't Stop Rock and Roll. This is some more VCLT I got from Jim Davis. Again, Twisted Sister in their nice and raw period when I liked them the best. The only compilation album in this run through that I have from '83, and it's a Music Foundations presents, as you can read, Hell on Earth, and this is a great compilation. I think I have just about every album on here: Manowar, Rat, Virgin Steel, Battle Axe, Metallica, Rocks, Virgin Steel again, Talas, Tank, and Merciful Fate. I don't have that Merciful Fate album actually. The only other one I don't have is Talas, because for some bizarre reason they're not on Music for Nations. It's the only track on here that isn't on Music for Nations, so I don't know if they were planning on jumping ship from Grub. But there we go. It seems strange that there's one track on here that isn't Music for Nations on a Music for Nations Presents album. It'd be nice to know what the story is behind that one. Virgin Steel's second album, Guardians of the Flame, sorry. Really, really good album. Top quality US metal. Last couple, Wasted and Vices. Wasted being Pete Way's band after UFO, and I love Wasted. They're well worth checking out. Certainly the first EP and the two albums that came after, including this one, are essential listening for 80s metal. And the last one I have in my collection, and the last album to round off this series of 80s videos, is Witchfind and Cloak and Dagger. This is a recent Back on Black reissue. As with all Back on Black, and I say this a lot, they do such a great job with their reissues, and a great way to get some of these early metal classics in the collection without breaking the bank. Anyway, that's it. I have run through every album that I have that was either an OG or a reissue of an 80s original. Hope you've enjoyed this series. Do let me know in your comments your favourites from 1983. Again, what are your favourites? What am I missing? What do you think I should be adding in? And have I made any mistakes? There's always a chance that something's misfiled under the wrong year, and you'll help me by rectifying that. Thanks if you've been watching and following me through this whole series, and it's been a blast showing all these and playing quite a few of them and reconnecting with them. Thanks for watching. See you soon.